All right, Quinn. We have something to talk about.
Yes.
Episode 1.
I did watch episode 1 off camera.
Okay. Now, the thing with episode 1 that I have to ask you about, there's like several things. First, though, the pod racing scene.
The pod racing was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was really, really overjoyed to see the kid win. And then,
Of course.
But then, like, immediately it goes to him packing from his home. And that's when Kinsey actually called you and asked you, I don't know what they asked you. But
I remember this conversation.
But they called you and they said, oh, God, they're crying. But his mom, I realized she was going to be there all by herself. And, like, she was stuck there as a slave. And her only son was leaving her. Mm-hmm. And I just started bawling. It just really tugged at my heartstrings. I was like, I'm glad we didn't record this. This is like fucking Ned Stark getting his head cut off all over again, bawling.
They really did cry.
No, I don't doubt that for a second. Quinn,
you know what my sensitive spots are.
Quinn, there's nothing wrong with you having a cry over this kind of stuff because
I have notes.
Okay. Notes. Quinn has notes about episode 1. I'm interested to hear what Quinn has to say.
So we were having before I go any further,
get things in order. Go ahead.
Reason that we're my next point brought us into the video. We're sitting here conversing before we started recording. I like the show Atypical on Netflix, and I have been informed that the main character sings in a what was it? A grindcore and a metal band.
One grindcore and one death metal.
And then also the actor that plays his sweet dad, that's a really good actor, is the guy that yells about the fucking cat at the door.
Ma, there's a weird fucking cat outside.
So
looks like fucking grandma.
That's a conversation we had to have. But wrapping it back around, as I'm watching episode 1, I go, hey, that guy that's on, like, they arrived at a city and there was a platform and there was some guy with a big nose standing on it.
Ah, yes.
And I go,
Senator Palpatine.
And I go, man, he looks like someone that would be in Game of Thrones. And then, like, Kinsey goes, I mean, there are a lot of actors from Game of Thrones and Star Wars, actually.
There's a few.
But, like, there was one of them, do you remember the one that really got me?
Sean Bean.
Sean Bond?
No, he wasn't in there, was he?
What?
Was he?
Episode 1?
No, I don't think so. There was one person that played a stormtrooper, though, that it just blew me away that they were in Star Wars.
Oh, I mean James. I know James Bond was in it.
It would have to be someone I would care about.
It wasn't that because that's like episode 7.
I had Kinsey look up the list and they told me the one that was safe, and it really impressed me, and I couldn't remember what it was.
Okay, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, cast members.
Well, Sean wasn't in Star Wars.
No. He was in Lord of the Rings. He played Boromir. And that again adds to the meme Sean Bean dies and everything.
But there was someone that it just like I go, really? They were a stormtrooper? That's so fucking cool.
But you can't say that. They're reading The Hobbit now.
I wasn't listening, so.
Yeah.
What?
I'm sorry, reading The Hobbit now.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
I was
nothing. Nowhere.
Playing with my phone, honestly.
Nothing is nowhere. That's
So, yeah, I did start reading The Hobbit. I'm on chapter 7.
Okay.
So I think I'm allowed to technically watch the first movie now.
Technically. Maybe, yeah.
The Hobbit's the only
I thought I was
book
gonna
I've
have to
read.
stop. Those first 2 or 3 chapters were so fucking slow. It didn't pick up until Gollum was introduced.
Yeah, that's...
Once it picks up, though, it stays, like, good till the
I
end.
was literally dying. If I hadn't been at work, I probably would have stopped.
Yeah, you were... I guarantee I could just see you now. You were just like...
I'm really trying to get back into reading. I was that kid that had like 100 AR points every 6 weeks before.
Yeah.
And so like I'm trying to get back into reading. Anyway, actors, Game of Thrones. Another thing on my list was we had a conversation about lightsaber colors. Nothing that like I haven't seen yet. I do know that there are other colors. Obviously, I know about the Samuel Jackson thing.
Blue and green are the primary like good colors.
And Samuel Jackson got the purple one.
Well, he got that one merely because
so his kids
wanted to know. Like his kids he wanted his kids to know which one was him.
But basically, I didn't know what they symbolized or anything like that, and I had asked Kinsey, "Hey, did these mean anything?" And This conversation's pretty good.
Go ahead.
I don't remember what they're on about.
So, like, they kind of basically said that the green ones were normally used by more experienced Jedi Knights.
Yes,
and
they're
that the blue
like
ones
knights or higher.
were obviously, just Jedis. And then the red ones were Sith or whatever. And I go,
yes.
That's really interesting. So what if one day, you've been a Jedi your whole life, and you pick up your lightsaber and you pop it out and it's like red. And they're like, oh, it's not like a sensing thing. It's like a crystal.
Well, yeah, the Kyber crystal is it. There's no real definite thing with it, because I like what they did in the game in Jedi Fallen Order, where your character actually sees a Kyber crystal and is actually able to like determine its color based upon how it holds it to the light. And that's actually...
Back in like Jedi Academy, I think the Kyber crystals actually just straight up looked colorful depending on which ones you picked.
Yeah.
So it was in the Old Republic too.
I thought it would be really cool for it to be able to like sense the wielders like true...
Oh yeah, since their true intentions and who they are.
And Kinsey goes, man, that would be a really good spinoff.
That would be, but...
I was like, what if you've been training all your life?
But then, of course, that wouldn't explain certain sabers, because it's just like, well, what does this one mean? I mean, because like, I don't want to say it. Never mind. I'm going to just knock that thought out of my head.
Another big thing is I had a theory. And I think I had kind of picked this up on episode 5.
They have theories. They have many theories.
I have a few theories, yeah. Every time I tell this to someone, because I told Ben and I told Kenzie, they have literally laughed in my face. So I don't think it's true.
I don't remember
but
what
let me give you my proof.
Go on.
So Darth Vader,
he
it was obviously a Jedi before.
Mm.
Stop mimicking me. So I know that there was like that scene between him and the Emperor ? Was that what that was?
Oh, in 5?
Yeah.
He was talking to the Emperor on the comm link.
And I don't remember what they said, but they had said something that had kind of, like, I couldn't remember what it was.
Skywalker is the son of Anakin Skywalker. Or Luke Skywalker is the son of Anakin Skywalker. That is impossible. And stuff like that. And, there's...
Well, that actually just ruined my theory.
What?
Well, I was going to say that Darth Vader is Anakin, but...
Well, you'll see.
Because basically, in the first one, they present Anakin to Yoda, and Yoda's like, no, fuck this. There's a lot of fear in this kid. I don't want to train this fucker. He's bad news. Like, and I go, well, this is before Darth Vader, so I guess Anakin... But then you say, well, Darth Vader killed your father. And I'm like, well, I guess if Darth Vader is Anakin, and Anakin is Luke's father... I mean, Darth Vader did take over Anakin and kill him, basically.
Darth Vader's been Yoda the whole time.
Yeah, that. But like, that's what I.
That's the secret.
Silly theory. Ben had to pick me up from work last night because I got sick,
and
I started telling him my
that.
theory.
You feeling better?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. It just kind of randomly went away. This is the second time in a year it's happened like that. My fever shoots up, I get cold, dizzy, headache, and then it goes away. But like, I was telling him in the car, and he literally did that laugh where I just fucking knew that it was too far-fetched. Like, just that one.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
It's like, he does that one, it's like, ha! And, yeah, that one, and you're just like, yeah, okay, I'm a dumbass.
That one, I know that one way too well.
And then, also, an update, I think I'm done with, like, my episode 1 ones.
Okay.
We've decided to move our honeymoon from New York City to see, like, Broadway and stuff, to Orlando to go to Galaxy's Edge.
Yes,
and make
that's
our
a good
lightsabers and stuff.
Galaxy's Edge is awesome.
Also, we can go to Harry Potter World. So,
so
I've calculated everything we would need for this trip, including $450 for fucking lightsabers.
Yeet.
This is about a $2,800 honeymoon, but our wedding was only going to be about $800 to $1,000.
Keep the wedding cheap. Spend everything on the honeymoon.
So if I could save up $4,000 in like 2 years, we could actually have a really nice time.
That sounds good.
And I have one more update.
Uno más.
So, this morning at 11:35 a.m., My Chemical Romance announced their North American
That's
tour.
right. That's the other thing.
I kind of lost my shit a little bit.
Of course you did.
There was crying involved.
That's no
So
surprise.
I immediately call my mom, right? And I'm like,
Mom!
it was I still thought about it. I'm like, Mom, I get paid next week.
Tell your mom you aren't okay.
Yeah, I did. I go, Mom, I get paid next week. Can you?
Okay.
That's like the best part of that song.
Seriously, I'm okay.
So I'm like, Mom, I don't get paid until next week. And she has in the past, like, if we need a TV or something, let us buy it on her credit card and then pay her back. I was like, can I buy it on your credit card and pay it back? She says no. And I'm like,
fuck.
Okay, I mean, that's good, I guess. Because she doesn't really get the appeal of spending that kind of money on a concert.
On live concerts, yeah. That's just,
she didn't, and she
bullshit.
definitely doesn't understand the significance of an MCR concert at this point in time. So I go, okay, well, that's okay. And I kind of cry a little more. And then we start, like, arranging a stream. Because I had most of the money. I was only a little bit short. That's why I was so irritated with her. I was like, I literally have all but like $100.
Yeah.
So then Mom calls me back. She goes, did you figure it out? And I said, yeah, I'm just going to buy one ticket. Kenzie's not going to go with me, and I'm going to fly to Philly by myself. Get on a plane.
Yeah.
I was going to get on a plane and go by myself.
That's not...
I was willing. I was going to do it.
Okay.
And then Mom goes, well, I don't want you to go to Philly by yourself. Let me just give you my card number, and you and Kenzie can get those tickets to go to the festival in Atlanta.
Woohoo!
So Kenzie and I are going to... What's it called in Atlanta?
I forget, but you
Midsummer
told me who
something.
all's going to be there, and it's just like,
It's going to be Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
Panic at the Disco, and the actual headliners haven't been announced yet except for MCR. So I'm hoping 21 Pilots is one.
I don't understand why they still call it Panic at the Disco. Brandon Urie's really the only member left.
I know.
Just call it.
He's basically that band.
Basically, we'll just call it. I just call it Brandon Urie at the Disco.
I'm so excited no matter what. We're going to get to go down there. I thought I was going to have to go alone, and now we're going to both get to go. They're going to get to see Billie Eilish, which I actually care about.
Well,
I haven't seen... I actually haven't seen
I have been tortured
Panic.
by all of Billie Eilish's songs by my nephews enough to where I about jumped out of the truck and like into like freeway traffic.
I'm not super into it, but I do
Would you
like
say
a
you're the
couple
bad
of
guy?
them.
No, but if you keep it up, you're going to be burying a friend.
Oh, I have to tell you a line I
I'll give you that one.
Thank you.
This is a true story. In 2011, my father took me into the city to see a band, and it was My Chemical Romance. That really did happen. He took me to Atlanta.
Oh, when you grow up, will you be the singer of the broken, the beating, and the dance? Yeah, I know.
I'm really excited to go back to see them in Atlanta again. I know my dad's like passed now, but it feels like special to go to the same place again.
Well, given it'll give you a point of reminiscence.
Yeah.
Because you'll probably walk down the same pathways that you walked down with him. You'll look back. And
oh,
you'll
don't
just
make me
be
cry.
Like, you'll just be like, damn, and you'll cry even more because MC fucking R.
I'm excited. It's going to be like a little vacation because I've already looked into the hotels. It's not going to be bad for 2 nights. It's not going to be bad in gas money.
Well, I'm glad you're able to go. I'm glad you're all able to enjoy it.
You know that my biggest fear when they started announcing shit was, holy shit, I might not get tickets.
And look at you now.
Well, I still have to pay her back for it, but
but that's you have the tickets.
I
in
also
hand.
got a promotion at work, so I'm gonna get $3 an hour more.
Hey,
which
nice.
is a lot. So that'll basically pay for the tickets in 1 month.
Good shit, Quinn. Actually, in terms of tickets and everything, a little bit of an announcement on mine and Nick's and Jacob's.
I know what this is.
Rammstein.
Yep.
We're going to see fucking
You're going
Rammstein.
to the same show that our friend Simone is going to.
Du hast mich.
If you see a really big guy yelling, just punch him in the face. His name's
It's
Simone.
a Rammstein show. That's going to be like half the dudes there.
No. I will not do that randomly in hopes that it is a person you know.
Next thing you know, it'll be like, hey, Quinn sent us. Who the fuck is Quinn? Oh, God, no. Run
That
away.
voice is so wrong. Simone is like some sort of squeaky bastard. I don't know what to explain. I'm not wrong. He's a squeaky bastard.
He's also not that big. He's shorter than me.
Is he shorter than you?
Yes.
Oh.
It reminds me of that one movie that had Cuba Gooding Jr. in it, and they were hiring convicts to sing in a prison choir, and they were just like, Cuba Gooding Jr. walks up on the pew of these convicts next to this one dude. He's like, "Hey, so what are you in prison for?" And the guy stands up, and he's like 7'6", and he's like, "For people making fun of my really high voice." And Cuba Gooding's like, "Okay, we're moving on to the next one."
God. I think that's all of the updates.
What did you think about the Duel of the Fates?
Dun, 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 dun. The final battle between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and
Qui-Gon.
Oh, shit. Shut up.
With like the best music in the series.
Yeah.
basically. Like the best thing about the prequel series
I
is that
don't
song.
remember the comment I made, but when those force fields went up,
the ray shield.
at one point, Darth Maul was like pacing
Yeah.
and
that
looking
part.
at him. I made some sort of comment. Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember.
I was like, why? Basically, like, why is he doing that and not chilling? And like,
Well, it's a menacing. It's
Yeah.
a menacing glare, and also if you notice, Darth Maul smiled at him.
it was really
Darth Maul smiled
it was
because he
definitely
knew-
creepy.
I think
Because
it's going to show the difference between like Sith and Jedi to an extent because Qui-Gon like
That guy just sat
respectfully
down,
sat
yeah.
down
Yeah.
and just kind of chilled.
whereas
and
Obi-Wan,
waited.
on the other hand,
He's
was
just
like
like-
still itching because it just showed his youth and
Yeah.
inexperience.
It was like Obi-Wan wasn't as old and like basically
We-
like seasoned as Qui-Gon,
I don't
so he didn't
remember
have
what
as
you
much
said at
discipline.
that point, but I remember what you said when they went up. Maul and Qui-Gon went to go fight, and
We'll
Obi-Wan
handle
got
this.
trapped behind the last field, and you're like, oh, wow, he has a first stage sheet to watch his master die, and I was like,
And then all of a
I
sudden,
did say that.
and then all of a sudden, hilt to the face, stab. No.
Yeah, I was like, wow, he has like a first row seat to see his master die, and then he died. But I think there was a scene before that where I was like, wow, I really expected his master to die right there. He's gonna have to die at some point during this movie.
Well, yeah.
I'm
well,
kind of getting better at picking up what's supposed to happen in movies from watching more and more of them, I guess.
Yeah, the whole thing with that fight scene is to me the best choreographed fight scene in all of the Star Wars movies.
It was really
because
impressive.
number one, the guy who did the choreography is actually the same guy who played Darth Maul, Ray Park, who is a world-class fight choreographer.
Huh.
And if you actually watch the fight progress, you'll see Darth Maul thinking of how he can defeat these guys. Because when the fight starts, you know, they're in the open room, and there's no real way for him to get the advantage on them, so he takes them into a room where he's more likely to separate them.
Yeah.
And once he gets them separated, he corners one of them, takes them down a narrow pathway where his dual saber can actually do more damage, and he separates them fully and kills one, but unfortunately gets killed by the other.
Yeah.
Well,
Unfortunately.
Fortunately,
he's the bad
unfortunately
guy.
for Darth Maul.
Yeah,
Fortunately for the universe, though.
basically.
I think I said this during the movie, but I thought that Darth Maul was a pretty prominent character, so I'm having a hard time believing he's dead. If that makes sense.
they thought he was a
Okay.
huge character within
I
the
thought he
entire
was gonna be,
franchise.
like-
Okay,
Like all
after
episodes.
if you're willing to watch certain things,
Okay.
you'll see more of Darth Maul.
I thought Darth Maul was very, very cool. I
Yes.
Most everybody did, and most everybody was kind of disappointed with how
One
little
film.
screen time he got before getting fucked up, basically.
But, however, there are other places that Darth Maul does show up. For instance, Clone Wars, Rebels, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
No,
That's
I
pretty
thought
much all
Darth
that's left
Maul
that's
was
canon
super- I like
anyways.
Darth Maul
Yeah.
better than Darth Vader, I'd say.
He has some cool fights in those.
Oh
too.
yeah. But
I didn't
Try-
think
but-
the first movie was bad.
well, okay, but still though, you're glad that you watched it off camera instead of watching it.
Yeah, I took a break in the middle.
They literally like stopped 40 minutes to go in the movie, and they're like, "Nope, dinner time."
Yeah,
That politics was terrible.
yeah,
The coolest thing, and I'm so mad that it's associated with shitty stuff, but the little ship that they got from the Jar Jar Binks colony,
yeah, the little Gungan
it looks
diver
like
ship.
a little manta ray or something.
Yeah,
I love that ship. I thought it was so neat, and then Like, it has to be associated with Jar Jar Binks in my head.
Trust me, I know. There's actually a version out there where Jar Jar does die when they arrive at the main city of Naboo. He actually is in the Gungan diver ship and doesn't get off the ship and goes over. But George Lucas didn't do that because, number one, he's a Gungan. He can just jump in the water and swim. But there's a lot. But there's several versions out there where they change Jar Jar up to where he's not annoying, he has nowhere near as much screen time, and he's not adult who just keeps fumbling his way to success. He actually has moments where he learns stuff and he actually like gets better as a character, but instead he's pure comedic relief.
I literally saw a meme today, literally this morning, that was, it was a picture of Jar Jar Binks, and it said all of this on the meme. I'm not adding any words, okay? Which would you choose? Having to have this guy's voice for the rest of your life, or having to look like this guy for the rest of your life? You're not allowed to kill yourself. I couldn't decide.
He sounds better from now on because he's supposed to be an ambassador or something. So he's learned to talk a little less misa.
Yeah, you'll see him in this film a little bit. He's nowhere near as prominent a character. You'll see him very little in this, and even less in
From
the third
how you
one.
guys acted, he wasn't in one as much as I thought he was going to be.
Well,
Like-
but he made that much of an impact.
Yeah.
He made that much of an impact simply because of how terrible the character was. Like, I give nothing but props to the guy who did the voice, who did the performance and all that. I'm sure
Well,
he
he did
would
his
have had a
job, but,
great
like-
career, but oh God. Sorry.
Attack of the Clones.
Yes, we have it right here.
Can we start the
This
fucking
is
movie?
still going to be my least favorite movie out of the ones we were watching.
Really?
It's because it's
I get that.
Fucking lame.
it can be.
It has that really cool city in it.
It can be, but there's definitely stuff in this that
It's not
I
as
will-
bad as like the prequel trilogy gradually got better as it went.
yes.
The only
It's still not as good as the original trilogy.
spoiler I've gotten about this one is that I'm going to cry.
I don't
That-
remember anything.
no,
like
there
it
is
was-
something. There is
They
something
will.
in this
They
based
will
upon
cry.
what Quinn told us earlier.
Okay.
I can't go into detail.
I told you a lot of things earlier. So I
Yes,
don't
you
wanna-
did. Okay. But anyway, Star Wars, Attack of the Clones. Here we go.
I
Yes.
just thought of something about this order of this movie,
What's that?
or of watching the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the next movie going to spoil one more thing that hasn't been revealed yet?
About what? Oh.
Beheaded.
But
I don't think that matters.
I don't think so. I think it was revealed in Empire.
Was it?
I think so.
I don't think it ever becomes relevant again until episode 9.
What?
You don't watch The Rise of Skywalker?
I think we're talking about different things.
Possibly. In which case, I have no idea what you're on about.
What are you on about?
I don't have much to say about this one if you want me to leave the room.
Nah, that's good.
Well,
Okay.
no.
It's not disappointing. I did not enjoy myself. I was dragging through this movie. There were cool scenes.
Yes.
There were good scenes.
Did not make it a
more
good movie.
but more enjoyable than say Phantom Menace.
I think the only reason I enjoyed Phantom Menace more was because I was at home and I was able to walk away from it.
Fair enough.
Like, I did get to just I think I paused it a lot. Like,
This is an unpopular opinion, but the number of scenes I remember from Phantom Menace are greater than the number of scenes from this movie. I'm not saying that necessarily Phantom Menace is a better movie.
But it
Kind of
is more
saying they're
memorable.
both equally shitty.
if you took out Jar Jar Binks, Phantom Menace would be better.
That I agree
I
with.
think there was
Then-
better
That I could
structure
probably
in
agree
episode
with.
1, yeah.
Like
I
Phantom
liked-
Menace at least had like pod racing, the Duel of the Fates. You know, there was like some setup and everything, and I don't know.
Like
This was just like the least memorable Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
This, you see, the thing with this film is...
I even remember more
because-
shit about The Last Jedi, probably because I've seen it more recently, but...
But the thing with this one, I will say, the pacing is terrible. The pacing is absolutely atrocious in this
struggling.
film. And if they would have cut out about a good 10, 15 minutes of Padme and Anakin's clunky dialogue,
Like,
and
what
instead...
the fuck was that?
No, and here's the thing. I believe you can tell, because you have to tell the story of Anakin Skywalker and his
What led
relationship,
him to...
his what led him to this. The thing I will say that they did good with character development with Anakin in this, the only thing, was the story with his mother. Even then, though, the dialogue was still pretty shitty. But the whole scene where he's not saying anything, where he just just goes out and just goes, you can tell. That's good character development. And then when he gets into the village, there's not much dialogue at all. And the dialogue that he has with his mother is very simple, very much to the point. And then, unfortunately, his mother passes away. And the scene of him, going pretty much on a rampage, whenever he's not saying anything, there is something there that says, yeah, this this is character development, and it's not trying with this shitty ass dialogue that keeps muddling everything down. That's one thing about these films that always got me. When I first watched it, I didn't notice it, but as I got older and as I started to understand dialogue and how dialogue is supposed to be used to tell a story instead of trying to be nothing but purely for exposition. Why should we give a fuck about these characters if they have nothing interesting to say?
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
my
feel
whole...
like I could actually do an edit of this film and take some bits and pieces out and actually improve the quality of the film just by doing that.
Yeah. For instance, I'd cut out the entire scene where they're on the transport ship. I would also cut out a lot of the dialogue between them whenever they're sitting and having their picnic, whenever they first arrive there. I would have very minimal dialogue with them. And I would just have, a little bit back and forth. Not, over expositioning everything. Wah, 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 wah. That's literally all I hear. It's like friggin' Charlie, the adults in Charlie Brown. Wah, wah, wah.
I don't know how much of this movie I actually processed.
Well, here's all you need to know. Here's all you need to know. The Republic did not want to go to war, but they were.
But it's a war now.
But yeah, it's a war now.
Oh yeah.
And secretly, someone got a army ready for the Republic. The clones.
I'm still struggling to understand why someone would do that secretly, like it was a malicious thing, because
it will be explained more and more. It'll be explained in the third film.
What I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, nobody really knows. They're just accepting, hey, we have an army at our disposal. Might as well use them.
What I thought was going to happen, which would have been cool, was I thought they were putting on this front of, this army's for you guys, the Empire. Here, you can take a look at, not the Empire, the Republic. You can take a look at it. And then, all of it, when he was listening in on that conversation, and they were like, we have a good army. Or we've made you a good army. I didn't realize he had not in the same place anymore. And I kind of thought, so they're putting up a front, but that army's actually going to be for the Empire, and they don't have an army at all. And I was like, well, that would have been fucking cool, but they would have gotten fucking killed, so.
Well, in due time, Quinn, you'll come to understand, I will say this, the overall plot line for how the Republic becomes the Empire is actually pretty good, but, again, muddled down by the shitty dialogue. The third film does a lot better job explaining stuff.
I like the third film.
I definitely am
the
ending
dialogue
this
gets a lot
film
better.
more confused than I was before.
Well, it's because they brought in a ghostwriter. Lucas brought in a ghostwriter to spice up the dialogue, especially with certain characters. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still some.
So are you
there's
saying
still some stinkers, but
what you just said? It's getting late.
yes,
so I'm
it
gonna
is.
try my best.
Actually,
The Republic is going to break up, and some of it's going to the Empire.
You'll see.
Is that
You'll see.
That's
I'm
kind
not
of
going.
what you said,
well,
though.
no,
Kind of
no.
spoilery to talk about.
Well, no, it
really
is
heavily.
spoilery to talk about, but you know that by the time we get to the original trilogy, it's
There's
an
no
empire.
republic. There's just
There's-
an empire.
so
There's
right
no
now-
republic. It's just the
Right
empire.
now, there's not an empire.
No,
No.
right now it's
There's
just a
just-
republic.
There's a republic and there's separatists,
Yes.
Yeah, they
or the
kept saying that.
Federation is what they're called.
Yeah, the Federation.
And
Federation
then the
separatists.
Sith people, where are those coming into this? Like the separatists?
You. Well,
Okay,
no,
so what, as they have explained so far, there is a Sith. Okay, so as explained by Dooku, his side of the story,
Okay.
and Dooku's like the separatist, basically leader right now.
Yeah.
His side of the story is there's a Sith in the Senate controlling the Republic from
Yeah.
within. So Obi-Wan and the rest of them don't believe him. But there was the scene when he came back, and he said there's a Sith named Darth Sidious, and he came back and he was like Lord Sidious. So you see that
the
guy's
old man he was
legit.
talking
He
to at
actually
the end.
exists, but you don't really know yet who that is or exactly what his role is 100% yet.
But right now, there is not an empire. There's just like
No empire.
people
No
kind of
empire.
wanting to get away from the Republic, I guess.
Basically.
The separatists, yes.
And then there's some Sith people thrown in there somewhere.
Yeah, the Sith are pretty
There's
much.
supposedly a Sith.
Yeah,
controlling things behind the
Count
scenes.
Dooku is leading the separatists, and he is a Sith.
Maybe the part of my confusion is why would the Sith give a shit and want to get involved?
You'll see.
Okay, so
You'll
that's
see.
so that is something
The-
that gets answers.
Yes, big
Okay.
time.
The skinny is the Sith are pulling strings wherever they feel like to get things to go their way, whether that's
Well,
separatists
so
or
far,
wherever.
They don't
the
really.
Sith basically want to rule through power and fear.
But in my head, the Sith have nothing to do with the Republic at all. So it just seems like some outsiders are like, this will be fun.
Well, you'll
Like-
see. You will see all in due
It
time.
hasn't really done a good job of explaining
Well,
anything like that.
But well, it's not. It's you don't see the full deck yet.
Yeah.
You don't have right now. You're looking at a puzzle board that only has a certain amount of pieces on it.
Yeah.
By the time the
There's a
third
third
film,
bag of pieces you still have to
I
open and put
really
in
feel
before
like I
it
could
fits
have just
together.
watched Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, and then done with Star Wars.
All right,
yeah,
you ready for a palate cleanser?
I guess.
Search bar.
I actually couldn't believe my memory deceived me, and there's an entire ass character that wasn't in this movie yet. Like, and I was like,
Lightsaber, fight saber.
fucking really? Like, I thought he showed up before now, but I guess not.
Fight saber being all one word.
Y'all can probably guess who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
I'm
know
glad-
who you're talking
I'm glad
about.
that I know that 6 is going to be pretty
No,
good.
no, no.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's filmed in reverse.
What in the hell is happening?
This is if Jedis and Sith were drunk
This is,
and being controlled by Quap.
you don't remember this part of episode 4?
Touch tips! I'm sorry, but Aaron looks like a thumb.
Yeah, he does right here. It's really exciting. I don't know what's so different about his face in this, but I don't like it.
He doesn't have a beard.
It's true. He also didn't have his.
His blonde.
Yeah.
Is this still Edgelord Aaron? Because if it's still Edgelord Aaron,
He knocked his helmet off.
oh god. I forget who it is playing Darth Vader. Is that Ross?
Yes, it's a Ross. I don't actually remember the one before that.
And the actual fuck was that?
Nick and I are both really unimpressed.
I wasn't trying to impress you. I was just trying to give you a palate cleanser.
Me and Nick are just like, okay, and you guys are dying.
I still had more enjoyment out of that than episode 2.
Oh, my battery's dead.
So I know I'm an adult because during that whole thing, all I could think about was, that's not one of those like $15 lightsabers. That one looks like the ones that are $200 at Galaxy's Edge.
No.
And he's just fucking throwing it all over the place.
Those look pretty cheap.
No, those are cheap.
I was
The Galaxy's Edge one. The Galaxy's Edge one are like full size.
Those
are like thin
be...
handles.
Yeah.
You see, the ones at Galaxy's Edge are like more like.
My only basis is, does it do this and flick out, or is it an actual tube?
Okay,
it's a tube.
so it's a tube. Like, they used to have these really badass lightsabers when I was a kid that they quit making. And it was the handle, and they had segmented pieces inside.
That's what my
and
brother
when you
had.
flick it, yeah, it comes out, and it
I
would light up and
those
everything.
in my head is like the cheaper version, and then the ones from Galaxy's Edge are like
The full tube.
This was actually before Galaxy's Edge and like Force Effects and like all the expensive companies even kind of came around.
Yeah,
so, like, they made these.
So like when I see
So,
that,
they
all I
weren't
think
super
of is
cheap,
Galaxy's
but
Edge.
they were the best
Yeah.
at the time.
And I'm like, did you pay $200 for that just to throw it?
No. Trust me, they've made sabers like that for a long time.
But these are more impressive in the handle.
Yeah,
Okay.
the handle and also the tube as well as like
you can
full
change,
polycarbonate.
You can literally
whereas...
take a new crystal and change them out and change the color
Yep.
of it.
It's so wild.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
kinda
beautiful.
cool.
I love the idea of you being able to create your own lightsaber and everything. Just I don't want to pay $200 fucking to do it.
Yeah, well,
I'm just
because
joking.
there's two
That's
of
for
us, we have to
hardcore
pay
Star Wars
$400.
No, I'm a fairly hardcore Star Wars nerd, and I wouldn't mind going to Galaxy's Edge, to like do some cool stuff.
Basically, once this is over, I'm gonna pretend that Star Wars only consists of Rogue One through 6, and then
That's kind of what I do.
Well, we'll see how you feel
I hope
about
you like 3.
about Episode 3. Me, I like Episode 3. I think there's a lot of mythos to it. There's a lot better dialogue. The fights in it are like very like.
I basically
They
take
make better
the
sense.
basic concepts of these movies and acknowledge that they are canon, like at least the prequel films. And then I just kind of forget all of the shitty dialogue and shit, and just like like the Clone War was a thing that happened.
So
The
now I'm allowed
Republic
to
was
watch
what the
Clone
Empire
Wars.
used to be, and just kind of keep that in mind, but just don't really worry about how shitty these movies actually are. I just make a better version of it in my head,
Another
basically.
weird thing. Did they literally set up a whole ass Clone War and then they're gonna skip it?
No,
Mostly.
There's
God, yeah,
episode 3
sort of.
comes into the tail end.
That's
of that kind of
You
stuff.
That's
get
why
what I
we
mean?
said-
Like, the whole thing has been so bizarre for
Well,
me.
That's why
if
we said
anything-
feel free to watch Clone Wars.
feel
if you
free,
want
feel free to
like,
watch Clone Wars because
anytime.
that includes like the micro series that appeared on Cartoon Network and like the CG animated ones that have come up here recently.
I pulled it up on Disney Plus and clicked on it to see how many episodes it was. And once I saw that, I don't know if I'm interested.
Now keep in mind the
we would
micro
skip
episode.
most of episode 1.
Keep
or
in-
season
From what
1.
my bros
Keep in
say,
mind-
like probably like besides the original trilogy, like Clone Wars is the best Star Wars thing there is. So I mean, it's apparently highly
And
worth
also
watching.
keep in mind the first series is micro episodes. How it was when it first appeared on Cartoon Network, it was like
Yeah,
2.5 to 5 minute episodes a piece.
Yeah,
Those
they're
were
not
alright.
super long.
No, those were awesome.
I would show them Mace Windu kicking butt on
It
those.
was
That was
like-
cool.
And of course a character who appears in Part 3.
I mean, was it literally like 600 and something episodes so far?
Hey,
I can't hear you. Dual lightsabers.
Grievous.
I don't think it's that many.
Oh, him fighting all those Jedi.
It was a
They're
Yeah.
not huge into fight scenes though. I can't just like rip them into a fight scene.
It's okay.
I'll-
Well,
Only
it's
121.
Quinn's choice. It's Quinn's
Only
choice.
121.
But they would probably
That's
enjoy
not- if it
Clone
had been
Wars.
121, I wouldn't have freaked out. I must have looked at the wrong thing.
And this is how I
You
want
might
to
have
watch
been
it
looking at
myself. is I'm
Rebels
going to
or
watch
something.
episode 1 of season
I
1.
don't know how long Rebels.
And then I'm just going to skip like halfway into season 2 where they finally had the rights to do whatever they wanted. So they went off the wall. Windu gets to do.
Rebels is only 75.
He takes a
Oh
bunch
yeah,
of
I'll
droids
fucking
and
watch
pulls all their
Steven
parts out.
Universe. 121 episodes is like,
Yeah, the film came first and then season 1.
Yeah, I'm just skipping season 1 because I've heard nothing but horrible things, and everyone says it picks up in the second season.
I don't skip.
I not doing it. I'll watch the first episode just to get everything across, but
Yeah, I remember that. I remember this. I remember it was on Cartoon Network for the longest time, then got canceled. Netflix picked it up for a season, got canceled, and now Disney Plus is finally finishing it with season 7. Thank the stars.
I think the thing that really throws me off about Star Wars is originally.
Entirely take place between this one and the next one.
Yes.
Shit. That's a lot.
Well, dude, it's the Clone Wars, and plus it's like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 years.
And there's a
Okay.
lot that happens between then and
So
now.
when this originally came out, y'all fuckers just loved it, even though all you knew was, here's some fucking plans. Let's go blow up the ship. And then they're like, okay, here's a war. Let's skip it and go to the next movie.
That
Like-
was probably my least favorite part.
Like, it sounds like this franchise has so many fucking issues, yet there are so many diehard fans. I'm not saying it's bad.
Because of the original.
Because of the
3.
original 3 trilogy.
And that's literally what I said as a person coming into this fresh. I was like, wow, if we just cut it down to Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, this is a great series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
It's just where you talked about doing Machete Order. You talked about trying to do Machete Order, which I will say this is the lowest point of the franchise.
Thank
It is.
God.
It really is.
This is the lowest point.
Because,
I-
1 and 2 have not set well with me.
I still think Last Jedi's worse.
No, I mean for Machete Order.
Well, yeah.
This is the low
You said
point.
of the franchise.
No, okay,
so
this is the low
I like the way
point
you
of
worded
Machete
that.
Order. This is the low point.
My opinion.
It only goes back up from here.
I think episode 3, if it was by itself, everyone probably would have thought it was a pretty dang good movie, but they're going into it and they have to accept that episode 3 is trying to make a good movie out of the mess that came before it.
Holy crap! It's like history
Kinda
repeating
like,
itself
yeah,
all
kinda
over
like in the new
again.
trilogy.
Well, why?
Oh!
I mean, like, how hard it would have been to release Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, do a prequel of Anakin's backstory and how he, obviously fell through to the dark side, and then had Clone Wars as their own series like they did anyway, and just call it fucking that. Why did they have to have these 2 movies at all?
Because they're trying to show
Because
what
George
happened with the
George
Republic
Lucas
and
is
the
a
Empire.
friggin'
But no one
whore.
actually cares about these goddamn politics. No one.
No.
I could not tell you one thing that's happened.
Okay,
Nope.
Quinn, here is actually something that they're talking about doing. They're talking about effectively after the next set of Star Wars films comes out, whether
gonna
it's
do
the Old
another
Republic or
3?
whatever, huh?
They're gonna do another 3.
Yeah, they're gonna do something set in the Old Republic, which is like what Kinsey's
Before the
playing.
Empire versus the Rebels.
Yes. So
Old Republic is actually before this, isn't
Once
it?
we
Yeah.
watch
Way
3,
before.
well,
once we watch 3, can I look something up to explain this whole political thing and just read it and be done
here
with it?
here
Yeah.
Well, like we're saying though, 3 is going to make all the politics make a fuck ton more sense.
Okay.
yes.
Like 3 is going to probably explain what you're wanting to know.
There's a gap in there somewhere.
But
You'll
it's not a
see, you'll see.
political movie. There's a lot less
Yeah,
of that
like-
in 3.
3, I actually do remember from what I can come up with in my head, has a lot of action and
That's
shit.
rough.
Too.
I really respect Nate and Nick for sitting down to watch this movie for a second time.
Oh, I've seen this film more than twice.
This is at least the 3rd time I watched it.
I've seen this film. I saw this film in theaters at least 3 times. Once for me, once with my cousin Zach, and once with my buddy Andrew.
I would have told my buddy Andrew to suck his own dick.
Yo, sorry, Andrew.
I couldn't tell. Well, okay, number one, I couldn't tell him no because not only did he secure a pretty hot date for himself, he also secured a date for me too.
Well, I guess Chad was shit out of luck. Or did he say Zach? I can't even remember.
Zach. No.
Okay.
There was first time me, second time with Zach,
Yeah.
third time with my buddy Andrew.
Okay, well, you can't say no to Zach because Zach is precious and very nice.
I love Zach. Yeah, he's my cousin. I mean,
And then he got a
he's my
good date
boy.
on the second time, so I understand.
Well, but yeah, third time I watched it with Andrew because he got a date for me, and I was just like, okay.
This is a good date idea, actually. Compared to Anakin, you look like a suave dude on that date.
to be fair,
like,
I
at
don't know
least-
how old Nate was at the time, but we don't really know what Nate looked like last.
Oh, I was 14.
Yeah, so I have no fucking idea what you looked like when you were 14.
Oh, I looked like a spring chicken because it was before I started gaining a lot of weight. I gained all my weight in high school, whereas
Okay.
when I was 13 or 14, I was I was still fairly skinny. But then all of a sudden, just like senior year happened, and then.
And so
I'm Nate. I'm pretty fat.
So did you have curly hair?
I did, but I kept it cropped really short back then, like really short. My dad wanted me to keep getting buzz cuts because he wanted me to play football.
So you gotta tell me the truth here.
Yeah.
With these movies coming out back in the, I'm not saying you're old, but like you were 14 when these came out.
Just go ahead and say it. Go ahead.
So were there people that got the stupid ass haircuts because they thought it was badass?
Yes.
I fucking knew it.
There were kids who actually, you know what they did? Because kids, couldn't grow their hair out quite fast enough to do like the little braid down the side.
They make the
made
little
the little earpiece.
Yeah, they still sell them at the Galaxy's Edge. I saw it in a gift shop thing when I was looking through it, and I was like, what?
Yeah. And
I mean, there were a lot of kids in my elementary school classes that thought rat tails looked good. So I mean,
yeah,
that's the thing.
You want to know? I'll do you one better, Quinn. The style thing for Star Wars didn't just extend to the guys, but in also some cases to the girls.
So people were walking around with space buns.
Space buns.
Space honey buns. No, well, a couple, but actually some of them actually did their hairstyle like sort of a puff up thing back here, like what Padme did in the first
Is
movie.
Padme the same one that had the fucking crazy hair for the whole first one?
Yes.
Yes.
God,
well,
it just,
her and her double.
Yeah, Amidala.
I have no idea at this point which one was which at any scene.
Well, that's the.
I
well,
never
that was the beauty
noticed.
of it.
I
Actually,
never
do you know
noticed.
Actually, do you know who her double was?
Who?
Keira Knightley.
I told them with it. I don't think they processed a lot
Literally,
of episode
Kinsey
1.
at some point was like, so did you realize? And I was like, what?
Keira Knightley. Elizabeth Swann from Pirates of the Caribbean.
No wonder I mix those two up all the fucking time.
Aha! I knew it.
Cause see, like I was thinking about it too, and I was like, "No, Natalie Portman's not Elizabeth Swann."
Nope.
No, yeah. I like Keira Knightley. I don't like Natalie Portman.
It's late.
Yes, it is. We need to end this before I end myself. So again, everybody, thank you all so much for tuning in. This was quite the adventure for Attack of the Clones.
Apparently, I
God.
have strong opinions about a franchise I know very little about, and I apologize for
But
that.
you know what?
Okay, you've watched hours of this.
Quinn,
to be fair.
Quinn, that's okay. We
You only
still
have
love you.
2 more movies to technically be caught up, besides
Yeah.
the new trilogy that nobody
Which
gives
no-
a shit about.
I
Yeah,
think I've
nobody
decided
likes.
we're not going to record that, but I'm still going to take into account their opinions.
Go ahead. Yeah. All right.
Because I feel like the original 6 matter more.
Yes.
And I will say about me watching this again is it's been so long since I've seen it. At least I'm refreshed on what the hell happened in it. So I mean, I got that.
Yeah, you were
out of it.
genuinely surprised by a few things. You were like, "Oh, I thought that happened in the next one."
And I'm like, oh, I thought something happened in this one that just straight up doesn't happen until the next one too. Like,
Yeah,
interesting.
that's how it goes. All right. Well, let's go ahead and end this here. So thank you all again, everybody. Until next time, I'm Nate,
Still Kinsey.
Quinn.
I'm Nick.
and we'll see you later, everybody. Peace out.